In a world filled with uncertainty, fear, and spiritual battles, there is a divine refuge, a place of safety under the shadow of the Almighty. Today, we pray Psalm 91 over our lives, declaring God's protection, strength, and unfailing presence. Lift your faith and join me in this powerful prayer. The power of God's protection is not merely a concept, but a reality that manifests when we truly abide in His presence. Psalm 91 is not just a poetic declaration. It is a covenant of security for those who walk in obedience and faith. The secret place of the Most High is not a location, but a spiritual position where we find refuge, peace, and divine covering. It is in this place that fear has no grip, where darkness has no power, and where the enemy's schemes are rendered powerless. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. This is not an invitation to visit, but a command to dwell, to remain, to make God's presence the very atmosphere of our lives. Those who live in close fellowship with the Lord carry His divine protection, not as a temporary shield, but as a permanent covering. The shadow of the Almighty is not distant. It is near, personal, and encompassing. When we truly trust in Him, our lives become untouchable by the enemy. Faith is the currency of the kingdom, and trust is its foundation. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. The power of this declaration is not in the words themselves, but in the faith behind them. A refuge is a place of escape, a place of safety when danger threatens. A fortress is a place of strength, impenetrable by attacks. When we say, "My God, in Him will I trust," we are making a declaration that no external force, no internal doubt, no worldly circumstance can shake our confidence in His protection. The enemy seeks to ensnare, but the promise of God is deliverance. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. The traps set by the enemy are not always obvious. They are often subtle, disguised as opportunities, temptations, or distractions. But God's protection extends even to the unseen dangers. The perilous pestilence represents threats that strike unexpectedly, diseases that spread in darkness, and calamities that seek to overtake us. Yet in all these things He promises deliverance. There is a covering greater than any armor, a shield stronger than any earthly defense. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. The imagery of being covered by His feathers speaks of a closeness, an intimacy with God where we are not merely watched over, but personally guarded. His wings represent a place of security, where the storms of life may rage around us, but we remain unharmed beneath His divine shelter. His truth, unchanging, unwavering, eternal, becomes our shield, deflecting every lie, every deception, every attack of the enemy. Fear is a weapon that the enemy wields, but it holds no power against those who trust in God. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day. Night and day represent the full spectrum of time. There is no moment when God's protection ceases. The terror by night speaks of the unseen fears, the anxieties that creep into the mind, the darkness that seeks to engulf us. The arrow by day is the visible attack, the open warfare against our peace, our health, our families. Yet in both cases, fear is dismissed because God's presence eliminates every threat. There are dangers that lurk, destruction that moves unnoticed, but the promise remains. Nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. Pestilence represents affliction, spreading without warning, attempting to consume. Darkness conceals, but nothing is hidden from God. Destruction at noonday is the unexpected disaster that comes in broad daylight when everything seems secure. Even in the face of such calamity, the promise stands firm. God's protection is unwavering. The magnitude of divine security is beyond human comprehension. 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. The battlefield of life is filled with casualties, with those who succumb to fear, doubt, and despair. But for those who abide in God, there is an exemption, a divine distinction. No matter how great the devastation around us, the Lord preserves those who trust in Him. There is a separation between the righteous and the wicked, a distinction made by God Himself. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. The judgment of the wicked is not for the righteous. Those who reject God's protection who walk in rebellion, who refuse his covering, will see the consequences of their choices. But those who abide in him will witness his justice while remaining untouched. The reason for this unshakable protection is simple yet profound. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place, no evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. The condition is clear, making the Lord our dwelling place. Not just visiting in times of trouble, not just calling on him in moments of crisis, but living, abiding, and remaining in his presence. This is the key to divine protection. God assigns his angels charge over us, an invisible army on assignment for our well-being. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. These heavenly beings are not passive observers, they are active protectors, ensuring that we do not stumble, that no harm overtakes us. Every step we take is guarded by the divine. Victory over the enemy is not just promised, it is assured. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. These creatures represent spiritual adversaries, strong and cunning, aggressive and deceptive. But those who abide in God do not cower before threats. They trample them underfoot. The enemy is not to be feared but overcome. The voice of God himself confirms his faithfulness. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. Love for God is not just an emotion, it is a commitment, a devotion that secures divine intervention. To know his name is to know his nature, to trust in his character, to be anchored in his truth. There is no cry that goes unheard, no prayer that goes unanswered. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble, I will deliver him and honor him. The promise is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of God in the midst of it. Deliverance is not just escape, but elevation. He not only rescues, but also honors. The final assurance is one of longevity and salvation. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. This is the ultimate security. Life that is full, complete, and fulfilled in the presence of God. His salvation is not just for eternity, but for every moment we walk with him. The power of Psalm 91 is not in mere recitation, but in belief, in living under its promises. Those who make the Lord their refuge will see his hand at work in every area of life. It is not a guarantee of a trouble-free existence, but it is a guarantee that no trouble will overtake us. The presence of God is the fortress that cannot be breached, the shield that cannot be penetrated, the refuge that cannot be shaken. When we trust in his protection, fear loses its grip. When we abide in his presence, no weapon formed against us prospers. When we dwell in the secret place of the Most High, we walk in divine immunity. The assurance is not in the absence of danger, but in the presence of the Almighty. The Lord is our keeper, our defender, our stronghold. We need not fear the arrow that flies, the pestilence that spreads, or the destruction that comes. He is faithful, and his word stands forever.